What's going on, guys? Mira here, back again with another video. Today I'll be talking about how to effectively spend your resins at each phase of the game. Resins are basically the stamina of a standard gacha game. They regenerate once every 8 minutes, and ideally, you want to have them always on recharge, because otherwise, you'll be wasting the resins. I usually clear them the first thing I do when I log in every day, so that I can do other things without worrying, and then one more time at night before I log off for the day, sometimes clearing as and when I see it capping out throughout the day. I've included timestamps in the video for each phase of the game, so do use that to skip to the parts that are relevant to you. Using your resins basically gives you a variety of rewards. All of them would help you to progress through the game. So this is a guide for what you should be doing with your resins through each phase of the game, as well as a should you top up resin guide. We'll start off at the earlier levels. If you're just starting out on the game and this is your first 1 or 2 days of playing, there's not much you can do in terms of using your resin. The only things you are able to do is basically ley lines, which gives you either Mora, the in-game currency, or character EXP cards that lets you level up your characters. My recommendation at this point in time would be to farm some ley lines that give you Mora instead of the character EXP ones. This is because the character EXP cards you get from ley line at this stage of the game is pretty bad and have very little use later in the game. Mora, on the other hand, is super useful for upgrading basically everything in the game, and will be helpful no matter which stage of the game you are at. You can farm these until you hit around adventure rank 15, maybe a little more. Once you've passed that, you should have explored a little more of the map and have unlocked some domains and bosses. These give you ascension materials for weapons and characters respectively, so as much as you can, farm them as much as possible. Of course, different characters and weapons require different materials, so see what you need, then farm the relevant domain or boss. One thing to note is that domains give different rewards every day, so for example, the weapon that I'm using on Diluc can only be upgraded using bits of Aerosiderite, which is only available on Wednesdays and Saturdays, as well as the random Sunday reward. So on days that I don't need to farm any weapon ascension materials, I farm bosses that give me character ascension materials. They are marked on the map so you can easily find them once you've unlocked them. Now, weapon levels and character levels are equally important, so I wouldn't recommend that you only focus on one thing alone. Split your time out equally and make sure your main 4 characters are properly upgraded, especially if you plan to use them in the long run. You should be farming these daily until your AR hits around the high 20s or AR 30. Once you've progressed more in the game and your characters are well ascended, you start unlocking talents. Talents are basically passive skills that upgrade your normal attacks and skills, and it is very important to upgrade them after you've unlocked them. So once you're around level 30, start doing talent level up domains. Similar to weapon ascension domains, they drop different items on different days, so pick up what you need, and on the days that you don't need anything from them, continue grinding your other domains and bosses. You should be doing this until your talents are upgraded as much as possible for your world level. After you've maxed out your talents, characters, and weapons as much as you can, you should be hitting adventure rank 40. When that happens, it's where you can start obtaining 5-star artifacts from bosses. At this point, your characters would have their level cap raised again, and you should be able to spend your next 5 levels grinding more bosses and ascending your characters to level 80. At around adventure rank 45 is where the bosses start dropping even more 5-star artifacts. By this point, you should know exactly what you need to upgrade, and you can upgrade whichever area you're lacking in accordingly. You should mainly be focusing on getting 5-star artifacts with ideal stats on all of your main characters at this point as well. Artifact upgrades also consume a large amount of Mora, so do make sure you're all stocked up. Now the question remains, should you top up resin? It basically boils down to a few questions. Are you free to play? If you're free to play, you get 60 Primo Gems from daily commissions, which is just nice for the first resin top up of the day, which costs 50 Primo Gems. I wouldn't recommend this though, because if you do this, you won't have any left for gacha, which takes away a lot of fun for this game. However, if you're happy with your characters and your main goal is progress and AR, you can top up once every day to farm more adventure, EXP, and drops. Now, if you're the kind that spends a little every month, and you've got the monthly Blessing of the Welkin Moon, which gives you extra 90 Primo Gems every day, and Gnostic Hymn for the Battle Pass, you should be topping up your resins every day at least once. This is basically what I do. I top up once a day, sometimes more if necessary. The cost of maxing top-ups every day is just too much, so I don't do it. But if you're a whale, then yes, you should be maxing out your resin and farming the necessary drops in that case, especially when artifacts with good stats are rare as hell to get. With that, I'm gonna end the video here. If you found this guide helpful, do consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you have other questions, do drop a comment down below and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. Thank you for watching, safe travels, and I'll see you in the next one.